In this video, we're going to take a look at the workflow and kind of how we set up our workspace. So you can see we're actually going to move from left to right. I've got a pile of books, barcode up, ready to go. I've got my barcode scanner. This is just a USB scanner. The nice part is it's got an auto sensor in it. So when you put a book under it, the laser comes on, which means you can operate it hands-free. It's sort of fun. So we work from left to right. We're going to scan the book, make decisions in AccelerList, pick a condition, put a price, upload to Amazon. It's going to print the label, and we're going to take that book, put a label on the back, and put it over here, and it's done. And we're just going to simply move from left to right until we've got everything listed. Now, there are several different workflows you can do. We're going to show you probably the simplest workflow where you make all your decisions. You're going to handle the book once. There's a lot of people that'll argue back and forth. Reezy's got some pretty good workflow videos where he actually separates everything by condition first. Then he scans it all in really quickly. Then he's going to label at the end and then figure out where they get split. We're just going to show you how to do this in one step. So we're going to handle the book, put a condition. We're going to pick a price up front. I'm a firm believer in pricing up front rather than relying on a repricer. Repricers are great. We'll get to that when we talk about managing your inventory. But I think it's important to set the price initially if you can. It will slow you down, but I'm a big believer, and we're just going to show you this process. And of course, you can fine tune as you go. Label it, and then we'll figure out where Amazon's going to tell us to ship it at the end. One of the downsides of listing with FBA is Amazon is going to split your shipments, and we'll show you what that looks like at the end. It's a little bit of a headache, but again, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And because it's a little more challenging, that does scare some people away. And if you're willing to fight through that, that's going to put you in a position with a little bit less competition. So let's show you how to set up a batch, and we'll walk you through just a few so you can see it, and then we'll run through it. So we're going to set up a new batch, and AccelerList is actually in the process of redoing their interface, so it's going to change what the look looks like, but the functionality is going to be essentially the same. You can give yourself a batch name, and we're just going to say, I guess I'll just put the date, so August 29, 2018, that's fine. You have the option to use a custom SKU. All this does is let you know when you sell something, which source it came from. We're going to say yes. This is Matthew, so he's already got his set up. He's got his shipping from address. We're going to do fulfilled by Amazon. The workflow type, if you use live, you're almost guaranteed to get more splits. It's going to go 7 or 8 or 9 locations compared to private. So we're going to do a private mode, which is where we label up front, and we'll get into more of this with some of the AccelerList training. But we're going to go private, which is where we label up front, and then we upload everything at the end, cross our fingers, and see where the splits end up. And then who labels, we're going to label. You can pay Amazon 20 cents a book to label. So if you're ever in a pinch, you can actually list everything. Don't worry about labeling it, and Amazon will do it at the warehouse, although it will slow your check-in down just a little bit, and it does cost 20 cents a book. So it's something you want to do yourself for, a half a penny per label instead of 20 cents. We're going to create the batch. It's going to open this up, and then here's our interface. Again, this may change over time. We're going to set the SKU to be 1. We're going to start at the beginning. Our buy cost for this first batch of books, we're just going to use an average. It's not important to go through and see what we paid for each individual book. I don't care that I paid $1.40 for this. Some of them were discounted based on the category. You've got to factor in tax. It's much easier to use an average cost. And for this batch, we spent $51.03 for 44 books, or $1.16. So we're just going to put the buy cost as $1.16. We're going to save the receipts for later. So you can put a supplier in there if you want to track it down later. Date purchased is today. And then the list price, we're actually going to set that ourselves. So we don't need to worry about that. We can close out of there. We're going to change the listing process to precision. This is going to let us actually put our prices, make sure our cursor's here, and we're up and running. So again, we're going to work from left to right, scan the book. It's going to bring it up. You can see the image here. There's only one on Amazon that matches this. We can see the current rank. AccelerList doesn't have eScore, at least not at this point. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to set our condition first. And again, you should be able to flip through the book quickly. There's a little bit of wear up in here, so it's not going to be very good. If there's any imperfections, it's not going to be very good. I don't see any markings. Everything looks fine. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say it's in good condition. And looks like Matthew's got his own presets set up here. We're just going to say good condition, and everything's readable. Finish grading. Now what it's going to do is it's going to bring up a keep a chart. We'll have some training on this as well. What we're looking for is the green lines, and this is over the last, looks like a year. every drop in the green line, it's sort of like a heart rate monitor. So the more it's selling, the more we can price, compared to the FBA prices. We'll get into pricing as well later, but in general, we're gonna look at where the lowest used is, and all these prices include shipping. So $6.58 is the lowest used price. The lowest new price is $28. That's also the buy box, so that's usually the lowest prime price for new. And then used FBA we have two that show up, $12 and $14. This is the buy box, and the buy box for used almost always goes to the lowest prime price as well. So we're prime sellers. We're always going to try and price between Amazon if they're on the listing, which they're not. They would show up as orange here. So we're going to price somewhere between this black line, which is the lowest used price, and Amazon. And since Amazon's not on the listing, we're going to ignore that. So our floor price is going to be $6.50 or $7, which actually, if we listed there, we wouldn't make any profit. And our ceiling is going to be Amazon, and depending on how often this is selling is how high up we're going to go. We'll do a more advanced pricing video. This is probably medium sales. It's probably selling a couple times a month. And so I may want to match this lowest price, and you can click on any price and see what would happen. So if we sold at $11.98 minus our cost of $1.16 minus Amazon's fees all in, we would actually profit $2. It's not amazing, but it's a $2 bill. And if we can get our workflow up and do 40 or 50 of these in an hour, that's a pretty good hourly rate. Because it's selling a decent amount, we may actually want to price up just a hair more. I might come in a couple cents cheaper than position number 2. And at that point, we'd make about $3.60. Again, we can change prices later. Everything else here should be pre-filled for us. We're simply going to say add item to batch and work our way over and go from here. Now, prep-wise, if there's stickers on it, you can cover the stickers. Or if there are price tags, you can get a Scotty peeler and grab that. So we're going to grab the label. Amazon's rules are their label has to be the only scannable item. So because we have something else scannable, I'm just going to push the button on the dymo, grab another label, and we're going to cover up that scannable section. So now the FN SKU or Amazon's label is the only thing that's scannable. And because we have a price tag in the front corner, I'm just going to grab half a label. And again, you should be able to get into a pretty good rhythm. I'm going to cover that up. And our first book, just like that, is listed. Let's see if we can speed up that process. So again, work left to right, scan the book, make sure it's the right book, picture matches, we're good, the rank's 1,000,000. We're looking at this is in pretty good shape. I don't see any markings, I don't see anything that's weird. Probably gonna go with very good. You could also go good if you wanted to downgrade. We're gonna say very good, it's in great shape, and everything's readable, and off we go. Again, looking at, is this selling a little bit, a medium amount, or a lot? This is going to be medium again, 2 times a month. Everything up here updated for us. So now we're looking at the lowest price, almost $7. Amazon's on the listing for $25, so we're going to stay between 7 and 25. If it was selling a ton, I'd be willing to price really close to Amazon. If it's selling not at all, I'd price closer to the lowest used price. Because it's selling in the middle, I'm going to go a couple dollars higher, but not crazy. And so because it's $7, looks like the lowest prime is $9.99. There's also some limitations, and we'll get into this, but this data is only going to show us the lowest 15 to 20 used offers and the lowest 15 to 20 new offers. And so it says there's 4 FBA offers, but we're only seeing 2. So we actually need to click through, bring up our Amazon account, and go look at the prime offers. So we can see the lowest price is $9.99, second lowest is $12.99, and from here, we've also got the Keep a Chrome extension, which we'll walk through how to enable that as well. We can see it is selling probably once a week. So it's got a decent sales volume. I don't want to be the lowest price in this case. I want to be second in line. I'm probably going to come in at $12.99. Again, I don't look at condition too much. Even though I'm very good, maybe I could go where Jensen is and price closer to $17. That's maybe not a bad option because this seller only has 1 rating and it's a 0% feedback. So they're pretty much a brand new seller. They're not going to get the buy box. So we may actually price just under Jensen and match their condition at $17.72. So I might undercut them by a little bit, and at that point we'd spend $1.16. We're going to profit $7. So that's not bad. And we'll go ahead and add item to batch. It's going to talk to Amazon, print our label, and again we need to cover up that pricing point in the front cover. That's covered. We grab our label. There's nothing else on the back cover, so all we have to do is cover this up. One other thing I like to do, I call it professional courtesy. I'm going to come in here and I need to for sure cover up the barcode, but when I do so, I actually want to leave that ISBN exposed. So when the next seller comes along, they can't scan this and get any data from it, but they could type that in. It makes it easier. So I like to help that because someday whoever buys this is going to dump this back at a thrift store more than likely. And if they can read this later, that just makes it easier. Plus, if the buyer's trying to say, hey, this book looks weird or different, they can easily see the ISBN. You don't have to do that, but I like to do it. Also, there's a price tag in the corner. Remember, we listed this for just over 17. It doesn't matter that there's a price tag here because this is just printed. I don't really worry about it. You could take a permanent marker, but why bother? Again, we just want to figure out how to get these books listed and out the door. So we're going to grab one more. Let's show you. Again, while that's loading and I'm flipping through it, everything's great. Again, we've got a from the library of in the front cover. Not a big deal. We're just not going to list it as very good. Everything else about the book is great, just very minor wear. So we're going to say good condition, everything's readable. And again, you can set up these presets however you want, but we just want to work through it as quickly and efficiently. Is it selling a little bit, a medium amount, or a lot? Again, this is in the middle. So the lowest price is $5. That's almost as cheap as it gets. Amazon is not on the listings. We don't have to worry about them. And because it's not selling a crazy amount, we're going to go a couple dollars higher. So I'm probably going to price in the $10 to $15 range. And again, we don't see any Prime here. It doesn't mean they don't exist. We're going to click through and actually go look. So the lowest Prime right now is $19.98. Again, we can see the Keep a chart. It's selling about once a week. It's doing pretty well. You can see that here as well. So because of that, I don't know that I go from 5 to 20. You certainly can try. I might come in at $17.95 instead. And again, we're going to try and sell it here. If we don't, we can certainly drop it down in a couple weeks down to $14.95 or $12.95. And again, we don't want to spend too much time on that. We're going to go ahead and print the label. We're going to grab it. Hard to do with one hand. We're going to try and leave the written ISBN exposed if possible. And again, because there's a price in the corner, we're going to try and block that out. So tear the label in half, save it for later, block it out, and move on to the next book. So that's the workflow. We're going to go ahead and do a time delay and just show you listing everything else. We've got about 60 books. It should take roughly an hour. It's about a minute per book if you just kind of work your way through. And again, within Exceller list, you can see some of the metrics, what our average rank is, how many books we've listed, the total weight based on what Amazon's telling us, and fees and estimated profits. So here we've listed 3 books, again, about $1.16 a piece, so $3.50 total. And our profits after everything is going to be 18 or 19 bucks if they sell at that price. So let's do a time delay. We'll walk you through, or time lapse rather. We'll walk you through how to list the rest of these and then show you how to box them up. All right, we're all set. We just listed 57 books. It took 41 minutes. So not bad, a little over a book a minute. And again, that's with doing everything. So the only thing that remains now, I need to do just a little bit more prep. And I'm gonna walk through a few things that we did here. You'll notice I went over on the side and changed the cost per book. For the second thrift store, we spent $33 for 13 books. That equates to $253. Now we did end up pulling one book. You saw me kind of set that aside. The reason for it, we missed it when we bought it. It's got a lot of water damage. You can see it's pretty stiff. It's pretty gross. In general, if you wouldn't be happy with it, don't try and sell it. So for this particular one, we're gonna toss it. If it was a $30 book, I'd list it as acceptable, say that it has water damage, that everything else is readable, and I would undercut the market. I might list it at 20 instead of 30. And if someone's on a budget looking to save some money, that's a great opportunity. This book was worth about 10 to 12 bucks, and minus fees, we'd only profit 4 to 5 or 6. And so I'd rather just not list it and not worry about getting a return or making a customer unhappy. So we're gonna set that aside. Technically, that does change the buy costs. We can come back in and edit any of these if we want. So because we didn't list one, if we want to be specific, I'm going to come back in. I'm going to change the buy cost actually, and it's going to be twice that. So instead of 253, it's going to be 506. So you can do that and make some slight adjustments as needed. So we're going to leave that alone. Again, you could come up here and look. We should have spent $86.46 for what's in here. If we're off by a penny or two, simply click edit on any of the books and you can change that up or down just to make sure, for those of you who like to keep the pennies figured out. So you saw I changed the buy cost there. I've got them listed in the order. It's not that important since we've already labeled them. It's kind of fun to see the giant roll of stickers that we've completed. Now the second thrift store, the Ark, put their own stickers on here on the back. So you have two options with this. One is you can get what's called a Scotty peeler. It's a piece of plastic. They make a metal version as well, but you can really cut the books and yourself. They're really sharp. You can use these and kind of work your way around. The idea is they let you dig in. These stickers are really strong, so I'm going to try and get this one off just for the purpose of the video. Once you get them started, sometimes they'll come off and you have to keep coaxing them. And as you can see, that's a lot of effort just to cover a price tag.
What's your trick to getting those off faster?
You know a trick to get them off faster? What's that?
A little bit.
Well, don't hold back. Come on, show me. So guys, this is Matthew. He's going to show you a better trick, apparently. So you can see that's how I did it. We're going to show you the Matthew method now. Of course, you're going to get a hardcover, which is easier.
Same thing is easier. I always peel back one corner of it. Like this. Get my fingers into there and grab it. And then slide this back and forth, and it just peels.
There's alternate method number 2. Grab a corner, work your way through it, and kind of use the car wash method where you're just going back and forth, and the label's off. The problem is it's still a little sticky. You can get some Goo Gone in there and try and really clean that up. Or, honestly, most people aren't going to care. You can say the book has a sticker on the back. What we're going to do, hit the button on our Dymo, and we're simply going to throw a blank label over top of that. Now it's got a sticker on the back, no big deal. So that's probably my preferred method. Again, you could spend all your time trying to make these look perfect and get a, you could get Goo Gone, you could get all the stickers off. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Throw a sticker on the back. It's already got an FBA sticker. And so that's the strategy. Again, as it relates to pricing, we'll get into that. Looking at our batch metrics, I'm going to try and multitask. We've got a total list price of $850, which is pretty good for 57 books. Let's see where that lands us. $850 over 57. It's only an average list price of $14.91, so just under 15 bucks. It's actually not all that great. We probably bought more books than we should have. Again, if it was up to me, I'd rather not buy cheap books. I'd rather only walk away with the books that I'm going to list for probably 14 or 15 or higher. We tried to only buy stuff that we get 100% return. So if we spent $2, we wanted to make at least $2. The other way to think of that is a minimum profit per book. So if you're buying a book for $2 and you're only going to make $1 profit, that's 50% ROI. You can probably do better. And it's only $1 on your time. So by the time you label these, you spend about a minute of your time and bringing them home from the store. You got to have a minimum in place. So if it were up to me, I'd probably leave some of these $8 and $9 and $10 and $12 books behind and just be a little more efficient. And yeah, I'd get fewer books, but the profit would be nearly the same. So we'll kind of crunch those numbers. So I've got an $850 list price, buy cost of $86 if I sold everything at those prices here. And we won't sell everything. We'll sell probably 75 to 85% of it. Amazon's going to take a little over $400 in fees, so Jeff Bezos is making some money off of us. And the expected profit after everything is $326.57. So $326 divided by $85 buy costs, about a 383% return. So again, we're going to be making 3 to 4 times our money. We spend $80 after fees, after paying ourselves back. We're going to profit about a little over $300. Again, not everything's going to sell, and we're not going to get the expected price on all of these. But still, even conservatively, we're going to make $200 for less than an hour of sourcing, including drive time, and just under an hour of listing. So now we need to package everything up. All out the door, we're going to be in for about 2.5 hours, and that's going to be close to $100 an hour. And again, that's just the value of getting through, finding good sources, scanning quickly. Again, you saw how many books we scanned to pull out these books. And if we were really cautious, probably would have left some of these on the shelves and not bothered with the $9 and $10 books. We might have only brought home maybe 35 books instead, or 40 books, but our profit would be nearly the same. So that's something you'll have to find the sweet spot for yourself. Again, if you're just starting off, even making $1 or $2, it does help you get some sales. It helps you get some feedback, and that's important. But we're going to go ahead and complete this batch. So I'm going to click complete. It's going to upload this to Amazon. It says, are you sure? If you did that on accident, you can cancel. We're going to go ahead and say okay. It's going to talk to Amazon. It's going to submit all 57, and it's going to say, Amazon, where do you want us to ship these? And Amazon's going to come back. So it's going to say, hey, your listings have been uploaded. Do you want to create shipments? We're going to say yep. So it's going to create those. Cross your fingers. Ideally, we'll end up with no splits. These are all going to go to one place. The reality is that's probably not going to happen. So we're going to pull Amazon up, look at our shipment, and actually, we got lucky. So 55 SKUs, 57 items are all going to the same place. They're going to LGB, which I believe is Long Beach in California. So this is an ideal situation. If these got split, we would actually have to go back later and find out which books got split. A lot of times on a 57 book batch, say that 5 times fast, there might be 10 that get split off. And so we'd actually go find those 10. You can either set them aside and re-list them or add them to a shipment later, or you can ship 10 in a box, which isn't the most effective. And now we're going to go ahead and do this. So we're probably going to need 2 boxes. This is probably too heavy. We can only go up to 50 pounds max. So we're going to go ahead and box these up, and we need to do box content as well. So we'll show you how to do that in the next video.